In today's video, I'd like to introduce a new student of mine, Lilly, who has had a very different learning to drive experience to the conventional learner driver.
You've had over how many hours lessons?
Over 260, two different instructors.
Two different instructors.
Over 2 years.
How much have you spent on driving lessons?
I calculated it to roughly 8,500 maybe, because I've had 4 hours worth of lessons for a week. For 15 months, that's what I did. And it costed me roughly 520 a month.
Well, hello and welcome to the Go-To Driving School channel. My name's Matt and this is Lilly.
Hi everyone.
Lilly and I are going to be recording a whole new series of videos, aren't we, Lilly?
Yes. We're going to record some of my driving issues, which is, when I say some, the list is that long. And we will do a video on how to know when it's time to change instructor. And I came up with the idea because I've had roughly 260 hours worth of driving lessons so far, two different instructors. I've been trying to learn for a bit over 2 years now.
How much have you spent on driving lessons?
I forgot now the exact number. I think I calculated it to roughly 8,500 maybe, because I've had my lessons were 2 sets of lessons a week, so 4 hours worth of lessons for a week for the past, not past 15 months because it was before the lockdown, but for 15 months that's what I did, and it costed me roughly 520 a month. And then with my first instructor, just 60 hours. Yeah, roughly 8,500. Spend a fortune.
Today is the first day back from the lockdown, so
yes.
and we're somewhat sort of starting again, you said, today?
Yes, because it's a shame because we were doing such a good progress.
So I think we've done about 8 or 10 hours already.
I think, yeah, with today it would be the 8 hour maybe.
And you were close. We don't want to get too into depth because what we're going to do is we're going to actually record a really in-depth talk through and chat about this, aren't we? Like Lilly said, she has got a list and it is this long of all of the anxieties and fears. Would that be the right sort of way to...
As nervous learner as it gets is what they should expect. I think. One of my biggest issues, even after all that many hours driving, was I was learning in a diesel car with my previous instructor, and I didn't know how to use clutch and gas properly. And I was told to stop at the junction, then look, and then go. And as a result, I couldn't control the car in low gears whatsoever. I always have to stop and start again. So
let's just break that down just so people can understand.
Yeah.
And so I understand how to help you best as well. Because I think this is probably what you didn't have, and I'll be careful not to go too in depth. This is probably what you didn't have with the other instructors, the breakdown and the hang on a minute, what is this exactly you're talking about? What is this complaint you've got? And it is this time what you're explaining is you're getting to a junction and treating it like there's a stoplight.
Yes,
basically.
I always have to stop, even on an open junction. I stop and then I start the car again, and that's why I've struggled. I drove into town for all my many lessons. I drove everywhere, so on the outside you would say I was doing really well, but in areas with traffic I'll get very nervous, and then she would say I want to stop the car because I'm slowing down, but I don't know how to start again. I need to stop and start again because that's how I've been told to do it on junctions, if it makes sense. And she would sometimes panic and say, oh no, don't stop, but I can't do that.
Was all your lessons in Derby before? Derby based?
Yeah. And around, and I'll drive into Derby town, and this is where in some situations she would say don't stop, and I could feel she's nervous, but I can't not stop, and it's very dangerous. And what Matt is teaching me now is the connection between the clutch and gas, why I'm using it. And I think it gave me great sense of comfort because I was always afraid I might stall the car. So I would lift the clutch and freeze it in one level, and Matt told me on the very first junction he asked me to turn into, on the first lesson, he actually worked out I have no clue what I'm doing. So he told me the clutch gives me speed. I know. The clutch gives me speed, and that helps a lot because now I know I need the gas. I need to remember to keep the gas so I don't stall the car, but the clutch gives me the speed. And I don't know how to phrase it, but in a weird way it gives you comfort because I know as long as I have the gas I'm not gonna stall the car, and I never had this knowledge.
You would freeze the clutch as you've just said, you'd set the gas, but then if you don't move the clutch up again a little bit,
won't move it,
and you go harder on the gas will just get louder, and the car won't actually move. And I think that's what Lily means by
Yeah.
the car gives you speed. Yeah, the car connects the engine and the wheels.
Because in any other gear you use the gas for speed, so I really didn't know. And there was a junction I really disliked. We didn't drive there that often, but often enough. I wish I knew where it was so I could show you and you could include the link, but I don't. But it was a junction that connects you to a country road, and it was a relatively close junction, so I always stop there and then start again. And even though I've checked and there is no cars, and that's when I will go when it's no cars, because they're coming with 60 miles per hour, they can come really fast, and I would go heavy on the gas, because in that instance I know it's important and I want to go quicker to feel safe. Yeah, and I won't go, and I've asked my instructor, why am I setting off like a turtle? And she said, I'm not sure, what do you mean, and you're doing better than you think. I don't know how to phrase it, but I'm gonna try to make sure they fully understand. I would hold the clutch on one level from fear of stalling the car, and I would only release it once I'm on the desired road, if it makes sense, but not immediately.
On the desired what?
On the desired road. So for example, in that instance, I want to join the country road, so I would not release the clutch until I'm on the actual road.
Till you kind of straighten back up and stuff.
Yeah,
by that
and
point
I've
you'd
started.
normally want to accelerate, wouldn't you?
I
But
felt
you couldn't.
Yes, exactly, Matt. And it felt like eternity, honestly. I felt like I've been there, exposed for so long. But because I am as anxious as it gets, you would get to know more about me. We're not going to go in depth now. I always thought it's my anxiety, because I've been told there is two realities. When you're very anxious, you don't necessarily see what other people see. So it's my instructor. I thought I'm doing better. And for people who don't know, I'll just quickly maybe mention it. I'm not sure it's not going to confuse them more. But the diesel, I've been told, when you lift the clutch, it has gas running through it, so you don't need to press your gas as well. You go clutch first. But if you don't know the connection, if you don't know why you're using gas and why you're using clutch, you would be like me. You would start very slowly where it matters.
It's like a cop-out, really, from an instructor standpoint. I don't think there's much efficacy there in saying, oh yeah, use the clutch, because it's not going to help you later on. And in your case, it didn't even help you there and then.
Yeah, and we've had a second lesson. I think it was after the second lesson, because we drove a bit more. Once I understood the connection between the gas and clutch, I was still having some lessons with my previous instructor, and we drove in Derby again in dual carriageways. And there is a particular part where it's uphill, and I didn't like it because I didn't have the control then. I would lift the clutch, but I would always be, oh, I'm scared, I don't know whether I'm gonna roll backwards, how much I'm gonna roll. And I applied what Matt told me, that I need the gas and to bring the clutch to give me speed and not to roll backwards. And I've done it really well, and she complimented my driving. But
yeah, because and we're not going to name any names of any instructors, but what we are going to do is use them as a point of reference.
Yeah, because I think sorry I interrupted you, Matt. I think she really wanted to help me. She just didn't know how to work with me, because I think some instructors are good, but they won't work for everyone, and it didn't work for me because I have no knowledge about cars whatsoever. And I need everything to be explained, and I need someone who can answer the unasked questions, I think. And even though I've asked her this question, I knew something was missing. I didn't know how to ask properly, because I wasn't sure what's missing to tell her for sure, and she couldn't work it out. And you did in the first lesson. The first junction. I would forever remember, I think. There is me on the gas, and Matt's looking, and did you realize it's the clutch? No. But even though I know this now, it will take me a long time to unlearn my previous habit, because I can block sometimes trying to overpower which way I'm going forward, because my habit is clutch up first.
Unlearning is very difficult.
Yeah.
Creatures of habit, aren't we, as humans?
After that many lessons, this is 1 year and 3 months I've been driving this way. They would enjoy watching it, I think. We'll see how it will go.
It's going to be a great series. Obviously, you know, Lily can project to you what she feels and thinks, and I think we're going to have some good communication.
Especially the very nervous learners like me.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of people throughout the country who struggle, and it isn't necessarily always on them, you know.
Yeah, I wonder whether I should mention that my partner, it's an engineer, and he can build a car from scratch, and he was really desperate to help me. And once I've learned that with you about the clutch and gas, how to do it properly, because my own car is petrol, we were driving in Asda, and I would recall we've only been practicing maybe 3 times I would say 3 times, because I didn't like my car whatsoever. But in these 3 times, I remember when I want to do this roundabout at Asda car park in Spondon, he would say, bring the clutch up more, because I'm doing the same. I'm very slow, I'm heavy on the gas but very slow. And he didn't help me, because he told me what to do but not why. So I wouldn't have brought the clutch, because I thought if I'm fast I'm gonna stall the car. So I continued not doing it. If it's because you might have a partner that wants to help you, or someone who really understands how the car works, but if they don't have the knowledge of an instructor how to see what's missing and to tell you why, you need the why. You really do need to know why.
By the end of the session, what is it that you will have wanted to have done and have achieved from it?
I'm hoping I wouldn't have gone backwards now, and I would do it at least as good as I did it before the lockdown happened. Because I still...
How long has it been since you've driven?
Well, we did a mini practice on yesterday, but I wasn't happy with it. Cause,
in your own car?
Yeah, in my own car in Asda. But I would sometimes manage to hold the biting point, and sometimes I don't know where to put the clutch, so I would roll a little bit, or I would panic, so I would put the brake on and then start again. So I'm still nowhere near perfect yet.
Is it that you want to be able to roll at junction?
Roll at junctions, yeah, that's it.
To roll at junctions, to not stop?
Yes, to not stop. To remember I can lift my foot off the brake and go on the gas. Again, I don't want to repeat myself, but because I've been told to stop a car to a junction, I would use 2 sets of pedals to complete an action. I would go clutch and brake, and I didn't have the... could you say mentality? I didn't have the mentality, didn't have the knowledge, couldn't think fast enough that I can, if I don't need to stop, well, I was always requested to stop, but let's say in a situation with traffic, I didn't have the mentality to lift my foot off the brake, go to the gas, lift the clutch, and off I go. And it's that simple, but I couldn't do it. And now I need to really work hard to remember you don't have to stop, you could lift your foot off the brake and go to the gas. It sounds simple, but when you've been learning for so long, it's really difficult to overpower your brain.
With that, you mentioned earlier on when you was talking, you mentioned closed junctions. Now, if you were going to stop at a closed junction, don't get me wrong, some closed junctions you might well need to stop for whatever reason and then edge out. But really, when you can't see, the only way you're going to see is by keeping on moving.
Yes.
So that skill is crucial.
You go, how do you say this, 1 mile per hour, even less.
Snail's pace, whatever.
Yeah, but this is still clutch control, and I've never been told this clutch control, and I'm so annoyed because I've spent so many hours. I could have been so much further. I drove in areas when I wasn't ready, and I've just increased my nervousness. I very often would misunderstand whether it's downhill or uphill in a junction, so I would plan my controls differently. But you gave me a very good tip. You said most of them might be downhill right at the end, and then they change.
Just start to lip up.
Yeah.
Or lip down sometimes.
And with the way Matt is teaching me to control the car, when we've done our practice session, I begin to, because I am now trying to hold the biting point before I get to the end of the junction, the imaginary junction at a car park, I start to feel you can't find a biting point to hold, and then you know it's downhill, even if sometimes it looks uphill. But if you can hold the biting point, if bringing the clutch down does nothing, then you know you need to stop because it's downhill. You need to control it on the brake. You feel the car more.
Brilliant, yeah, that's good. It's ideal if you identify an approach and then you sort of know, okay, clutch is going down and it's just going to stay down and I'll just keep on the brake. What about a flat surface and a slightly uphill then? What kind of control would we use throughout that to see better if it was closed?
Hold the biting point up the hill.
You would.
But on a flat surface, I would need your help. I forgot.
Well, if you depends what you can see. So if you let the car sort of keep a little bit of momentum from the approach, then you're not really going to use clutch control because you're just going to kind of go straight away.
Yeah.
But if you have to slow to see better as you get to the end of the road, then that's going to turn into clutch control. And when you do put the clutch down on a flat surface, it is going to start slowing down, whereas it wouldn't on a down. So
right,
you use clutch control on a flat if you need to, but you always definitely, again if you need to, definitely use it on an uphill.
At the car park yesterday, for the first time I felt how to control the car downhill, because I've always been asked to just stop, I'm heavy on the brake. My partner said to me, I'm scared of it for some bizarre reason when it's rolling with me.
Yeah.
And so he said, just get used to controlling it with clutch down on the brake, and then you look, pretend you look, and there is some situations, and then it's so easy once you've had a go at it a few times, then you get off a foot off the brake, and then you can go back on the gas, and you would go relatively easy when it's downhill.
And have you got the feet positioning? Have we talked about pivot? You're not moving your leg across, you're pivoting across from the brake to the gas, like that sort of thing.
We have, but I have very small feet.
Yeah, so you do.
3.
So you do struggle a little bit. Okay, so then, Lily, I think we've got a plan.
Right.
What do you want me to help you with today?
I think maybe guide me completely.
Completely.
To start with, and then see how it goes.
Okay, we'll do that. Should we do a loop around the block, and then we see how that goes, and then we can have a discussion?
Yes. I think that sounds like a plan.
Same as before. Of course, I've got the brake and the clutch here. I'll use them if I need to keep us safe. I will give you directions in good time. If you don't understand them, let me know straight away. Okay?
I will do.
And so you've done your head restraint as well.
Good,
You didn't used to set your mirrors, did you?
I didn't do anything in the car, so clearly I think they can see I'm as short as it gets, so I have to lift the seat forward, otherwise I can't see. So that was the only thing I would change. I was shown how to change the mirrors, but then when we went for the second lesson, I expected that they would prompt me to do it. Both of my instructors didn't. I felt embarrassed to tell them, so I would move the center mirror because I can't see if I don't, and then I would look at these mirrors and I think, well, I see something, it looks all right. But it wasn't. It makes big difference. I was driving all my previous lessons with the clutch being far away, so I have to stretch too much, and it really makes enormous difference. I remember the first time Matt showed me how to do it, I thought that's now close enough, and it wasn't still. So it's good to make sure you do it properly.
All right. So I'm going to identify with you early what type of junction it is, and if you can, I want you to try and sort of see why it's downhill or why it's flat as you look forward, because I want to train you to start doing that.
And I know you've given me tips and I can't remember, but it might come to mind, but I know you've spent a long time explaining and I was doing better. It just slipped out of my mind completely.
Don't worry, we'll take it one step at a time, and initially all we want to do is we want to be able to keep that roll. Whether that roll eventually turns into a gentle stop, fine. What I would advise you to do is to match your speed.
So you can see and plan.
And if you're still unsure, well, the speed keeps reducing then.
Right, think I'm ready.
All right then, Lily.
So are we checking first?
Yeah, drive on when you're ready. And I'll give you full support on the approach to the junction, trying to keep the car rolling gently.
So I'm trying to find my biting point. Hold it.
Okay, nice one. So keep the car slow, steer right, not left, just because that'll bring us into the curb. Has anything appeared behind us or about to overtake after the red in the mirrors? No? Fine.
And we didn't. Oh, I might have lost my gas a little bit.
That's fine, you can always reset, can't you? Now we're going to...
Go on. Is this downhill, Matt?
It is, yeah.
Because I tried to hold my biting point and it looks uphill.
Ease off your gas. We're going to turn left, yeah? So if you start checking your mirrors, left, centre and left. Signal, that's it. Ease off your gas. Start to gently brake. Gently. Clutch down, go. Now, focus on the roll. Slower but still moving. Slower but still moving. Still moving. Still moving but slower. Nearly stopping now. Now looking through that gap. Let it roll. That little stop's absolutely great there. Set your gas, that's it.
Sorry,
Bit more clutch. Freeze. And all the way off the clutch.
It's very because my car is a bit stiffer, and now the second gear quicker, isn't it?
Yes.
Is another thing
That's
I wasn't doing.
Good.
Oh.
So I would say, and off that clutch a little quicker when we change gear. I'm going to turn left again. I would say this one's a flat surface. Would you say?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. So nice start there. Covering your brake, Lily. Starting to gently brake, showing the lights. Clutch down. Let it roll. Slower but still rolling. Get into the line. That's it. Good timing. Get into the line. Just a bit slower. Bit slower. Last look. Set your gas while you're rolling. No rush. This is lovely. Freeze the clutch there.
Oh, sorry, Matt.
Only just have that look past that white car, and then off you go.
It's an extremely tight junction, isn't it, that one?
Yeah, and it's a meeting situation as well. So just, sometimes you might be able to emerge out the junction, but then there's an immediate holdback.
Am I allowed to complain I'm too short? I wish I was a touch taller person.
Well, you can complain, but I don't know what you're going to do about it. That's why the seats are customisable. So this one is uphill, but it's turning in. So what gear are we going to use for this one?
Second.
Yeah, so turning left. Nice start there. Keep yourself centering your lane. See us steer
I've
right
noticed,
a bit then.
Yeah.
What could be around the corner?
Anything really, pedestrians, cars.
So just be ready with your brake and clutch if you need to. We're going to turn left at the end, alright? So starting your routine with your mirrors, nice one. Covering your brake just a little bit earlier, Lily. Just starting to brake gently, increasing. Clutch.
Down.
Extra brake,
Remember.
not too slow, not too fast, getting to the line. Enough time to look. A bit slower. Set feet if it's clear. Keep steering as you come. Look at your curb now, Lil.
Yeah, you can see. I'm trying to just overpower my brain a little bit.
That's really good. And we're going to pull in on the left now after these two parked cars on the left.
So we want to position by them just in case
That's
something
it.
comes. Was that too close?
I saw you. That's great. I saw you check your mirrors. Do we need a signal? We might not. Don't think we do. We don't need one. So it's just starting to brake
Could
then.
you just remind me, was it left in here, he said?
Yeah, going to turn left at the end. So that's it.
Brake a bit more, clutch down.
There's gear. That's it. Try to
See,
avoid
I'm
looking down.
Raising myself, I
That's
forgot
good.
the gear mat.
That's good. Keep looking. Keep moving. If it's clear, looking through the glass, through the gaps. Last checks. Bit of a oomph on the accelerator after you check your mirrors for the road.
No.
Second. Yeah.
See, I technically know this, but my brain is it's only thinking about pedals and I'm so upset.
Okay.
I didn't do it before.
Well, you're doing a nice job there so far. Let's turn left at the end on another flat junction. Yeah?
Do you want me not to give a signal if no one's behind?
We always do for junctions, so if you pop that on, I'll explain it in a moment. Braking, clutch down, first gear, a bit slower but not too much, a bit slower, set feet now. Even just to hold is fine. Bite point, a bit quicker. Alright, good. Now just be ready to use clutch control in case you need to hold back, but we shouldn't need the foot brake at all here, ever. Because it's uphill, so we can use clutch control the whole way.
I don't feel very confident with my holding the bite, and when I'm doing it alright, but when I think about it, I'm not in the car, I'm scared. I've done the gear change wrong again.
Yeah.
More gas because it's up the hill before you go, just a bit more gas.
Yeah, just a touch. We're going to pull in on the left and park on the left, okay, Lil? So, checking your... covering your brake.
I'm aiming for
That's it,
the
so
next one.
don't brake too hard. Steer right now, right. That's it. Awesome.
I'm pleased I have you with me.
Yeah, we were reasonably close. So the next bit of left you put on, you didn't need to.
See, because I've practiced yesterday and I was not doing enough left, and then I had to do more right, and I'm forgetting the right, and I thought, do more left, it's further than you think.
You were lined up really nicely, yeah, just didn't need to steer left more. Have we discussed that before?
Pulling by the curb. Yes, I've struggled a lot with that one before, because the way I was doing it, the way I was told was I'm not allowed to, it's coasting, isn't it, if your clutch is down when you're in second gear, so I wasn't allowed to do that. I needed to slow down the car, go into first gear, bring my clutch down, bring my clutch up, then find the biting point somehow and control it to a lower speed, which I couldn't do. It was a disaster, and it was a lot of start stop, and I was miles from the curb each time. I've only done it when I'm parking the car back at home, I want to say. We didn't practice a lot on busy roads or in these circumstances.
Well, you are going to be asked to park on busy roads when there's cars coming up reasonably, driving behind you, which can be quite pressurising. So we're going to get it right while we're in these quiet places. What I would just, listening to what you say, it's not coasting if you're slowing down with it. You've got to put it down at some point.
It's a difficult one to explain, because I know technically we all know we're not allowed to coast, but I wasn't allowed to put my clutch down and drive at any given situation, really. I had lots of pressure to bring the clutch up immediately.
Was that a big thing?
First. Yeah.
We can all misinterpret things, is what I think, and I think even as instructors we might misinterpret, particularly if we've had a candidate fail for a certain thing. We might get a bit sort of, oh, that's a big, and just misinterpret
Because
things.
I think I can add a little bit. I'm trying to keep to what we're doing today, but because I've had all the experience, I've driven everywhere, I can't not flip to certain situations. So I can give you an example. I don't know how the car feels if you've slowed down a lot but not enough to be in first gear. You could set off in second. She would ask me to do similar something. I would slow down the car in traffic and she would say keep going, and I can't do that because she's never allowed me to experience it. And I hated second gear because
So just to be clear with it, Ed, and you're rolling along and you're at a second gear pace, you put your clutch in because you think you're going to stop, and maybe
skip the second. I normally skip the second. I would be driving third or fourth. I see a situation. I never done what you're teaching me. I never heard of engine braking before. I think I knew it exists. I never did it myself. If my foot is off the gas, I am immediately heavy on the brake, and Matt worked on that too. Don't be heavy. Do a pound coin from his online course videos as well, is where I've watched it a lot. So I would be heavy on the brake from fourth or third straight to first, and because I don't know how to control the car, I believe I had zero car control.
Yeah, because you're in the mind of stopping, aren't you? So yeah, straight to first.
And I didn't understand how the clutch and gas works. I have to stop and start again because I couldn't think which pedal would I go to if I'm not to stop now. I didn't have that.
It sounds chaotic. It's because it's very
really
if you were driving behind a car and it went to first gear when it should go to second, that's a big difference. That's really cause.
I could give you an example. So I don't know, I probably would just scare people, but I was exiting a country road again. I really don't know where this area is. I haven't driven much in it since. So I was exiting a country road and someone takes my priority. The cars are on their side, but they're coming towards me. They didn't stop behind them, and I'm exiting from a fast speed with the car following me behind the country road. Well, fast speed, I'm a learner, I was doing 45 maybe. But I've stopped. I went heavy on the brake and I've stopped, and I think my instructor shut the brake then. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this phrase, but she was so nervous and disappointed, and she said, what you not do on a country road? I said, well, you don't stop, but the cars were coming towards me, and she said, but you could have slowed down. You simply slowed down. Yeah, but when I approach a junction, because I was still gauging car control at this point, I stopped. So this is how I register. If I need to slow the car down, I go on the brake. I never rode the car, so I can't do it in any other situation either. It was really nerve-wracking experience, and I've cried for weeks after, thinking I know I'm not supposed to stop, but I was reacting to what I see at the front, and I don't use second gear. I would use it on roundabouts, but it added extra pressure because I would forever think, when do I need to start braking so I get the second gear right, so it's not too soon or it's not too late, and I forget to look at the roundabout. So it's really crucial, I think, to be able to do what we're doing. Because a lot of instructors, I'm interested if people would comment to know if they've been told to roll to a junction, or are they stopping, or it's just me.
No, I think a lot of get that. Don't forget, I've over the years, particularly because of the way I advertise and you know, the YouTube channel and things that's on the website, we do get a lot of customers come to us who have paid cheap, or you know, not necessarily paid cheap. You can pay expensive and not get the service you need.
Oh, I'm not going to mention it now. Sorry, Matt.
It's all right. So there's a lot of people that similar that have had duff information like yourself.
And I've got everything against me. I don't know the area. English is my second language, so you need to be able to sometimes answer something I haven't asked you, and you always read the body language, I think, because I can feel you're looking and you know, and you could tell me what I'm about to do wrong before I even do it. And I've asked, so I still can't get my head around it. I'm keep flipping to this clutch and gas. It's I wish people could see me setting off what we're doing now with my previous method.
Yeah.
And they would see I'm just the car is like a bag of potatoes. How I stop, heavy on the brake, doof doof, and then I look again, and sometimes I would check. Again, I'm going to lead to another question that we don't want to talk now, so I'll just say I would check for too long, and I would miss gaps, I would miss cars. I would decide to go thinking I've just checked 30 seconds, what might have been a minute in reality. I set off to go, and there comes a car.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's get back into, let's lead from that. Thanks for sharing that. We will definitely go over that. It's very important. Do you remember me saying last look now, and let's crack on there. You know, it's sort of that kind of talking just when I was guiding you through, because you was sort of having that other look down there. Saying that, there was a van with some lights on, so it probably because of that, but make sure
I sometimes look and don't know I'm looking, I think, Matt. I sometimes...
Yeah, make sure you're looking where you're going to be driving, because then you'll do it quicker, you know what you're doing, when to do it.
And I'm still thinking about what... I just kind of felt it and I thought, what is it? It vibrated the road.
Yeah.
I'm still a bit slow on the clutch, in my opinion. I think it's only because I have to overpower my head, and I'm still afraid of stalling the car. I have this safety blanket. I know as long as I have the gas, I'm not gonna, but it takes some time to trust yourself. And I've watched your video 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes I'm 1, 2 and I forget. And then it's a freeze and then 3.
Cool, right. Now then, let's talk about the goal. Do you want me to help you pull in next time? Have you got a reference point for it?
But
Do you want any help with it next time?
I think, yeah,
Judging
it's better
curb.
than making you think I'm gonna hit the curb, which I nearly did.
Where's the curb appear right now?
I think I always struggle with... I know it should be a reference somewhere in here, but I don't know how I'm using that. I really...
Rather than look at the beginning of the dashboard here, where does it appear when you look, like, you know, where the glass meets the dash?
Like, maybe somewhere in here, I
Okay.
think.
So look, so the car feels reasonably straight. Would you agree? We're parked reasonably straight. We're
Yeah.
not crooked in relation to the road. If you look in the door mirror now, just show me with your hands what kind of gap have we got. Is it something that we'd aspire to next time?
Looking from my mirror, I think I'm very close. Maybe that little bit, I don't know.
It's a little bit bigger than that.
It's my perception, I think, because we did the same yesterday, and I would say, oh, this is miles, and Chris would say, it's not miles, you just forgot the right turn that you've told me.
The other thing though, in this car, is that
It's very powerful, you don't need a lot of the left, I think. Whether mine, I go 12 to 9 quickly to go to the left.
do it slowly so you can feel what you're putting on and taking off, and it's if you do it too fast you might oversteer.
Yeah, I think I was a touch too fast and I've done it before.
And you might take it off too quickly as well if you steer on and off. It's got to be on and off as you're coming in. The side of this car sort of goes down like that. It's not flat.
Right.
So if you look at the top of the car, you'll think the bodywork and the tyres of this car are very close to the curb, because you're looking at the top of the body panel at the door. But if you look, it sort of comes in, out, and then it goes in as the body of the car goes down. So it's really the bottom of what you can see, which is what you want to focus on, to the gap between the car and the curb. Does that make sense?
I think so. I think it's something I would need to practice a lot more with in my own car as well to get it. But yeah, because I do the same in my car. I know it normally, and then I aim for something, I don't fully get it, because I'm either afraid and I don't do the proper steering to go closer, or I am very brave like now and I go too close, too quickly. It makes sense, I just need to practice more, I think.
Yeah, so
See how it goes.
what we'll say, we'll steer.
With your help, I think I would remind myself again how we did it.
Yeah, sure. I will help you, and I'll just demonstrate now with this wheel. So let's say that's the normal driving.
Yeah.
We'll go about 5 to 10 minutes left. Hold that as the car angles in left. Still mainly travelling forwards though, because you don't want to put too much steering. And as you steer left, that reference point that we talked about is going to come into the middle of the dash, wherever it is now. As soon as that's just about to come in, we start at the same speed as we steered left, taking it off and steering right, and then bring it back. Does that make sense?
So is it 12 to 10 rather than 12 to 9? Sorry, just to here, when I'm steering to the left to here.
Yeah, work with
it's
10
obviously
to
different.
and 10 past.
Right.
Or 5 to and 5 past. But usually between 5 and 10 minutes. Do it, yeah.
Because I know it and I think that's it. I might do 10 to 12 on the left, but I won't do the same amount on the right.
Yeah, you've got that to
Yeah.
bring it straight, and at the point it's straight, bring the steering wheel straight,
Yeah.
to keep it straight. I'll help you with that. Let's talk about what we're actually doing. That's just something else I've picked up, and it's brought up some of the stuff, which is fine. How did you find your braking? Were you happy with the roll that we were achieving?
Yes, I think it's we didn't do a video on the first lesson, but I already improved it by watching your videos because I did a marathon of them. But it's coming more natural now. I don't have to think, and I'm listening to what you're saying, so I try to do gentle. I think at times maybe I was thinking I'm doing okay, and you said more braking now. Maybe if you didn't encourage me, I would have gone past the line thinking I won't.
Yeah. Just slowing it down so that you can have those proper checks and not feel rushed. And that point where I've got is just a little bit more on the brake. It's just, you know, you've got that window where you can see through the car down the road. That's that important point. And that's why your obs need to start. As soon as that road opens up, those houses disappear, those hedges have gone, the walls, start looking, because you're going to see, oh right, I can't see now, but when I get there, I'm really going to be able to see down the road, you know. And so that's why you're controlling your brake in such a way.
I just want to say that I have the mentality to drive for others, so I would want to drive not to my ability. This is something I often do. I want to go faster for the sake of, there's no one behind us, it's just a habit that I want to learn. I watch my partner and he drives aggressively a little bit because he's been driving for so many years now. But I want to slow down at the last minute possible, so no one behind me stopping, which is not a good thing. I need to get rid of it.
Yeah, so thinking about the driver behind more than what you're actually doing.
Or my ability, whether I'm comfortable. I push my ability to a point where it might not be safe, so I'm happy you want me to go slower, because slower gives you more chance. But this is how I've been doing it for so long. It's a habit still, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you happy with it then?
I think, yeah.
Do you feel confident with it as a skill?
Yes, because on what we're doing now, it's fine, and I'm gonna polish it off, and next time you probably won't have to tell me that often. I would know he wants me to slow down. I think he said 2 car lengths in one of your videos I watched.
What, for the clutch down?
For the clutch down,
approximately, yeah.
Which to me sounded like a long time, because I always was heavy on the brake, and I plan to bring the car to a stop at any given junction.
If you're heavy with the brake, you'll need your clutch earlier, won't you then?
Yeah, I would do the clutch earlier, but because now I'm trying to find a biting point sooner or something, I think I try. Or don't slow too soon, because you might stop before you get there, or you might not want to do that much brake. I was feeling I've got more time, so I think you pointing out put more brakes showed me that I'm not exactly there yet. I need to.
Okay.
I think my perception is not 100% right.
Okay.
Because you don't want the heavy brake at the end. You want the gradual braking all along. When you've got the chance on these quiet roads, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not bad, but it needs to be polished off.
Okay, what are you happy with?
Well, the fact that...
The other thing, fully happy with, sorry.
The fact that setting off the gas comes easier now. Before I was putting too much pressure. Have I lifted my foot enough? Is it too much? Is it too little? At times I wasn't very happy because I could hear the sound going. I'm putting more gas than I want to, but I think it wasn't too bad.
No, it's good, it's fine. Just the one time I said to you a little bit more clutch, and I think you knew what I meant, but it could be misleading. Just in case it is misleading, it means we need the clutch to work for us, so clutch up a bit more. To match
the gas. I've had the same with my partner
gas
yesterday.
was fine. Didn't overdo it on the gas.
Because he said on one instance, because I drove us home, I think it's good to point to the people that watch that I've had so many lessons. I've driven everywhere. I refuse to go on a main road because I don't feel safe, because the car control now is different, and I've missed the clutch control for all them lessons. I don't want to be a danger to others. I don't want to go yet, but last night it was quiet, so my partner said give it a go. And the minute you put the pressure on me with other cars, I was putting too much gas, and he said like you more clutch. He said if you're gonna put that much gas, you need to match it with the clutch. I was very slow on the clutch, but keeping the gas so I don't stall the car.
Here's one for you. You know when you're in that situation that you've just described, so you've gone bell feature on the floor, let's say, you've gone off the brake because the car's rolling a little bit, you've gone on the gas, and then you've brought your clutch up to bite, and you feel the car move a little.
Yeah,
you
and
just
then
feel
I freeze it.
You freeze it. Now when you freeze it, do that, but why don't you go freeze, up,
lift.
freeze, up, freeze, up.
And
by that time you'll feel like you're going and just come off.
I think the point is because I'm not ready for the main roads. I shouldn't have driven us home, because this control, it's needed, and I know how to do it, but when I want to rush it because there is a car behind, and I rave this gas, and it's not good for my nervousness, it's not good for my confidence, and there is no need to rush it. Get the clutch control, it's really important, because I won't go on the main road until I feel fine. I can navigate them. It feels a challenge.
Well, really, before that was, like you say, you would be mentally upset and actually physically upset, I think, before. So that's no good for anybody week after week. I'm guessing that you hated the lessons.
Some of them would go better, but I didn't. My anxiety before I separated with my instructor, the last few months, my anxiety increased a lot. And I think the reason for that was because I was driving a lot in all areas with not good car control. And at the beginning she wouldn't criticize me that much, you're driving along, but we always pointed out the anxiety is the reason for it. So she would say, if you're that anxious, you would always forever block and don't think, and they need to get rid of this anxiety to move forward. But I forgot what I wanted to say now, because I thought of so many things at once. It's so many things to say, but towards the end it came back to me. I've started making the same mistakes and being constantly criticized. For example, what you're teaching me now, I approached a roundabout in Allentree. I think I've got a picture of that roundabout to show them in another video. It was downhill. I registered it as uphill, so I didn't put enough brake, thinking the car would slow down anyway. And because I'm not allowed to put the clutch down to coast, I wasn't putting the clutch down yet, and I was afraid of this rumbling noise. I nearly missed the line. She had to stop me, and she was so pissed off and said, what went wrong in there? This is basic stuff. We've done this stuff so many times, but this was an area I didn't know, haven't been there, couldn't read the road properly, and this happened. So the more I get picked on, and she says you're doing the same mistakes over and over again, it became a hell.
Can you imagine? So yeah, so we'll keep our eye on that. I was really happy with you remembering to change gear quite early on when we moved.
But you needed your help once.
Moved off. Yeah, but I was just encouraging you to just give it the gas a little bit more, because if you're off your clutch, obviously the gas will just work. So check your mirrors, get the speed up.
These are all new things, yeah. To trust the car's moving without, I'm scared of the rumbling noise, without, I have this urgency to press the brake, so this requires some help from you until I get used to it. But it's nice when you can do it.
Yeah, sure.
It makes sense, because I never let the car drive me. I would always control it by braking.
So you weren't as aware of like tick over and
how long it takes for the car to stop, and how it feels if you let it.
Cool. So I was also happy with you moving off, and your mirrors and your signals.
But I did forget them a few times. I needed your help.
With the mirrors or signals?
Yeah, I think at some point you said something, keep looking, because I tend to focus on that side too much or the other side too much, where you've mentioned it earlier. Look where you're going, because it's important. Don't just over analyze, I'm looking, when you've committed going. It's, you just give a glance, not looking there. It was in one particular junction, don't remember which one. I was more focused looking backwards.
Okay, yeah, so observations.
Yeah, but it's not as bad as I was.
No,
for sure.
no. Okay, cool. So let's shall we have another go at that? Would you like to do it a little bit more independently this time, or do you feel that because you said you haven't quite got it, would you still like me to be helping
For some
you?
reasons my nervousness kicked in, because I was very good with mirrors before, but not being in a car, I think I watched one of Matt's videos where he said the minute left foot goes down, remember about the gear, and it was very helpful. And I forgot today once, which I normally haven't forgotten to put the car in first gear before.
When we approached the junction.
Yeah. I was surprised, because I'm normally very good. So
do you think you'd have forgot?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just doing it purely from a timing standpoint. I didn't know if you'd forget or not.
Oh, definitely. When you said it, and I thought, but I know left foot down gear, but I'm trying to overpower my brain at the moment, so I don't have enough capacity to think.
Yeah. So do you want help with the
I think maybe try and give me help if you think I've missed it, or if you want, I'll talk you through what I think I'm doing.
Yeah, why don't we do that then? Because it's not completely by yourself. I know what you're thinking, and I can chip in if you're not quite.
Yeah, or if what I think it's wrong.
And do you still want to stick to the same circuit, left turns?
Yeah, I think give that one a go, because I think
Because we've not done any right. We're not really added in any right turns yet, have we, on your training?
it's up to you. We did it the previous lessons.
Did we?
I'm remembering to put the car in second gear quicker, which I'm not going to
Alright.
go in depth. They would know later why it's so important. But I still get it wrong occasionally. Uphill, because I don't want to over-rave the car. So I don't want to put too much gas, which is a problem for me. I need to learn and register those and just accept, put more gas, because the minute you put the clutch down, it's like you've stopped. And I've done it again. So I'm not very happy about that, but we'll see how I'll do it the next time.
Okay.
And now
I will then let you lead the way. I'll give you the instructions in good time again.
I think we're going left from here.
We're going to go left here, and then we're going to go. We're going to go right then. Okay, just so you know. Yeah. Now there might be some meeting situations and stuff. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and holding back, stopping.
Well,
moving.
you're so good with reacting that I'm sure we would be all right. I don't have that much confidence in me. I'm still refreshing my memory.
Do you
we would
want
be
me?
all right.
Yeah. So
I believe we would be all
So
right.
do you want to sort of lead the way with that as well? Tell me what you're thinking, and I can chip in. If
Yeah.
anything really, bigger.
Or you haven't, I
comes
haven't
in,
said it
I'll-
and it's time, then you could just take action or
That's it.
tell me.
Yeah. That's it. All right then. Sound fine.
So I clutch down first gear, and then I think I would try to hold the biting point. And I don't worry about this because it will get overpowered, isn't it? And then I just try and hold it.
When you get to the bite, yeah, that'll go off. That's really nice there.
Thank you, Matt.
Keep centre.
Yeah, sorry. This
That's
is
it.
just
Yeah, I
as
should have
you
dealt with
said
that.
it, no, it's not you. I tend to edge. I like the other side better.
We'll have a look at that, Lily.
So I'm
all right.
slowing down. Yes, slowing down a bit just in case something comes up, so I don't shoot the brake but stop.
Right at the
Turning
end.
right.
Steer towards it. That's it.
Oh,
Good.
see, and because I haven't been told how to do. Now I've completely lost the plot, man.
That's
So
good. You're doing the right.
clutch down.
Yeah,
and
brake it just the
See?
way we did.
This is what I'm saying.
Signal back on.
This is what I'm saying. Once my plan gets ruined, then it doesn't work for me. I forget which foot to go where.
Okay. So would you say the van kind of took your concentration completely?
Well, the van I've dealt with, but then I forgot after that what to do with the car.
Right, positioning was great there at the line, footwork, gaswork, smoothness and steering, top notch, and observation. So well done there.
And again, second gear, more gas. This is what I've done.
Off the
This
clutch
is
quicker,
what-
well done.
But you know what I mean now for the next video we will do
Yeah.
on the roundabouts. Why it matters. You could see the danger. Now I'm not sure if I can go with that car.
If you're unsure, what would be best? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, is he holding for me as well?
You just get into first, okay.
Is that first or third?
Double check, don't rush. You can still, that's fine, yeah, really good.
I don't blame the person.
That's fine.
Because this is why I didn't want to drive in busy areas, because I had no car control, and you could see why it matters.
Well, would you say that was a good outcome, a positive outcome
Yeah.
there? Yeah.
But I'm just giving you an example,
Yeah.
so you know
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
how.
Because that could have gone differently.
And people can see why I didn't want to drive. Sorry, not very smooth.
That's
changing
fine.
there.
What kind of things might be around this corner?
Cars,
Yep.
pedestrians, kids, football balls, cats. That scared me.
So if you hold back here, you'll be on a hill, won't you?
And I am on a hill, yeah. So do I want to go a bit more to the right?
Now you do, yeah, because it's clear. So you need to position to show your commitment.
But you still don't want to go too fast. So if you need to stop somewhere, you can.
Exactly. So you're just a happy medium there based on what you can see.
I'm trying to position us close, but not too close.
Yeah, what
My
distance?
perception is a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Now when we take the next left turn, Lily, I need you to keep your car straight until you turn. Obviously you'll be in the middle of the road here. We are going to take the next left, and it's after these 3 cars on the
Right.
left.
So would you say the signal here is right?
About 6 car lengths from the junction, so
So,
about
yeah.
here. So keep your steering wheel straight, yeah?
Right.
Alright, happy?
Yeah.
That's it, fine.
Steering now.
That's it. Being ready to hold back, do we need to?
Cover the brake.
Okay.
As you said it, because I was looking, but I thought cover the brake just in case, as you think something happens. So that was helpful. I've driven here with Chris.
Good.
I don't like that junction. It's a misleading, quiet one with lots of angry drivers. It's not as bumpy as it was when we were here.
I know, this needed doing for so
Is it
long.
done?
Yeah, and they've done it now, which is great. Big
Let's
lump
do-
of tarmac we've just driven over.
I try to avoid them, but
Don't worry, it's fine.
now in here,
So I've just seen lights on in that car. What could happen here?
a car could come from anywhere.
Yeah, I think I could move off as well, couldn't it? Because it just said the lights on, there's somebody in
I
it.
didn't see the mud.
So just look out for some of the clues, because it can help you to be ready, can't it, with those pedals?
Yeah, my brain was taken by which position was right here, more to the right or more to the left, and I'm only looking ahead. So this is great example. Keep the whole picture, which I miss sometimes. I focus on something I think is important. Doors are open, so
Remember to go round the van, it'd be centre and right mirror. Yeah? To go round the van initially.
oh yeah, because someone would be there, not there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to gauge where I am.
Turn right at the end.
Now this a straight? So I'm braking.
Yeah, and it just, as you get towards the end, the very, very end, it just starts to go uphill. So set your feet just there, nice and quick. And I think your foot control is very accurate. You're not over revving, you're not under revving, you're not slow, you're not fast. It's
Because you're not taking me on a main road to give me the stress, and you would see.
so. Is
I
this a
need
good
more
way for you
practice.
to
Yeah.
build that baseline level of driving,
Yes.
and then we're going to tackle those faster roads with confidence? Is that right?
Yes, I'm not in a hurry to go. I think everyone that drives and thinks it's a progress needs to check how they feel, because it will benefit you if you don't rush it.
We're going to turn left at the
Yeah.
end. Now, would you say this is uphill, downhill, or flat?
I think I know it's a downhill.
Yeah, just slightly go
Because we've
down,
done
doesn't
it
it?
and I've learned it.
Yeah.
Remember, first gear, I waited because I thought she's gonna cut the corner,
So you're using your anticipation.
and now I'm braking.
Very
because
nice.
I've
Very
seen
nice.
that car.
Very good.
Now, could you see him up the hill? You wouldn't wait for him, would you? But I'm just
Yes, you
thinking,
would.
You would, wouldn't
Why?
you?
Why would you wait for him?
Shall I pop
What
the
side of
handbrake
the-
because I'm on the
Yeah.
clutch longer
Yeah.
than
What side of the road is he going to be on?
on ours? This is what I was thinking, but it felt like he's too far for me to matter at
He's
first.
coming downhill, isn't he?
Yeah,
And you're behind giveaway lines, so you give way to that road.
but it's only because I haven't met him. Sorry, Matt, I
fine.
panicked for a
No, it's
second.
fine.
Checked if the gear is first.
Yeah, that's sound.
I thought it's too far away, and then looked at them and think, well, surely I can't go.
If you look at all the cars, they're all the way down, aren't they? So once he's committed, that's as good as, yeah, you have got to, even though he's far away, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because of the amount of cars.
But I want to have this kind of meeting situations now, rather than you take me on a main road and I can't take it in. 'Cause
We're
I've had
gonna-
it. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. We're going to take the next road on the left. It's after the third car here on the left.
Could I give a signal now? Yeah, just about.
So what you're going to do with your steering wheel once you've got...
Keeping it straight because of that car.
Yeah.
But I'm slowing down because I can't see, and I'm a little bit nervous. But now I can steer, and I'm trying to be close to the curb.
Okay.
I think I can see that no one's there. Yeah.
And I want you to pull in on the left, please, at a safe
But-
place.
Okay. So
All right. So
I would aim where
yeah,
the dogs are roughly.
get your feet ready. Start
Stop
braking.
braking.
Clutch down. Steer left until we got that reference. Not too much. Hold it on till the reference point comes in.
Oh.
Now steer right. Keep it rolling. Keep looking forwards.
I will change the gear, Matt. Sorry.
Stop. If you come off your brake now,
I'm gonna roll.
which is why we need to keep the little
Momentum.
roll go. Yeah.
I just build a fear for that one again.
Well,
I hate it.
into neutral.
Into neutral, not
Yeah.
starting it off again.
Is that what you were going to do? So here, so
Try
that.
and go to this one, to the next one instead.
Yeah, so let's think about that because it ties in really nicely with what we've been doing today.
It's just working this reference because I'm not sure I can safely say which one, and I tried not to do too much this time.
Well, to get
That's up, actually, it doesn't need to,
to-
isn't it?
to practice the reference, you need to keep rolling.
Yeah,
Now, really, did you need to even change gears at all?
it's because a second gear, you know, we've done it once, but I'm not. It's such an enforcement in my body that I can't set off in second. I considered it and ruled it out
Where'd
to
you
leave the gas.
set off? Because
I
we
mean, because I've realized I'm gonna run out of momentum, and then I very briefly considered, shall I go on the gas and clutch because I'm in second, shall I go into first, and then I've just stopped by the time I come up with an answer in my head.
And why don't you, instead of continuing to brake to kill all the existing momentum, why don't you just...
Yeah. I can't tell you why. I think it's because I'm still learning to trust, to let the car drive me. It's a weird thing, but I want to be on that brake all the time.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one because I haven't thought about. I thought I overpowered this in my head.
And then if that runs out of momentum, then that's time to select first. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, not second because you don't want to be fast.
Yeah. So we couldn't really. So you steered left. You didn't quite keep it on long enough. So we actually did do that a second time. Got you to come back. But then you stopped us. So if we can keep moving next time, then we'll be able to practice that and get that right. What I do to keep, I don't know if you used to use this, we just use a lesson sheet that obviously records the date, today's goals, what went well today, what are our areas for improvement based on today, and what our goals are for next session. So do you want to fill out?
I'll try
and I'll help you.
Remember everything.
So what was today's goals?
Oh, that was...
or goal?
Carrying on when if necessary or downhill. So carrying on when necessary, it's still the same as the parking, isn't it? Meeting traffic, hold between gears.
Was today's goal to keep rolling?
Yeah.
To be able to coordinate the brake so that we achieve a roll, yeah?
Yes.
On up, flat or down, basically, because we want the roll on all of them. It's just that we're going to control
the roads
different
that I am on. Yeah.
So we pop that down.
What date we said?
It's the 6th of July. Back at work.
I actually forgot to tell them I've stopped working to learn how to drive. I haven't worked for a year and 7 months.
You stopped working to learn to drive?
Well, because my anxiety was. We would talk a lot because I have so many issues.
Yeah, we've got
a full list.
We've got some good videos coming, some really good ones.
But because the anxiety was what was the reason, and I needed to drive to work, and if I don't drive, it was 2 buses. What would have taken me 15 minutes by car was 2 hours with 2 different buses that were not very regular. And I've stopped working thinking, once I removed anxiety from work, because I'm that anxious person, that's what I came up, that was the conclusion with my previous instructor, I would improve. So I've stopped working since, and I haven't learned to drive, and I've been home for how many? Nearly 2 years. It's embarrassing.
We'll get it done now.
So control the car to a roll.
Coordinating the brake correctly, because it's all based on the brake, and that was part of the problem, wasn't it? You were clinging onto it before, bringing it to a stop every time, which is what you just did when you're parking.
Yeah.
But we've got to look at all the scenarios and unlearn them, haven't we? Like you said.
What went well? I think everything feels easier, but it's just I need to work on. Remember, you don't have to be. You can cover the brake. It's something I haven't done. Keep your foot, but don't brake if you don't need to.
Yeah, you're just ready, and you just, because I think that's how you get really nice braking, like being ready to brake at the earliest time it needs it, but then not over braking, so you can really think about your braking and time.
More confident meeting traffic, good. I think.
Yeah, I think you dealt with them really well. Everything you did with your feet, with your positioning, but just reminding you to just steer to, get yourself back position. Don't be too submissive and come left too much. But you weren't too bad, to be honest. The van being the stick.
I need to get used to that. Your car is really good, so it doesn't take much to go to that side of the road.
No, it doesn't.
Mine it's a lot forgiving, and that's why I think when I set off I need to bear it in mind, because I go to the centre and they don't want me there. Yeah. So more confident with meeting traffic.
And the other thing to add for areas for improvement is the not steering right, so left turns.
Oh yeah, when I set off.
Left turns, yeah.
And remember not to get fixated looking left or looking right for too long. Look where you're going as well, because I think I am showing to you I'm looking. I've got this.
You're seeing you looking a bit sometimes when you should be just checking. So I'm going to put here which door mirror, and I'm going to ask you about this at the beginning of next time. I'm just going to say, if you steer right, check the right, steer left, check the right after centre.
The left I've checked to see how close I am, because that's how I was told. I can't gauge very well where I am on the road sometimes, so I wanted to see how close I was passing this car or van that was parked. this is why I check the left, and this is why probably I
Right.
forget the right.
Shall we discuss passing parked cars then?
Yeah.
Because there might be.
Because I was always told, look at the left mirror so you could see how close you've passed him for future reference. But I need to do this sooner, I think, and then focus on that mirror.
I'm not sure. That's not a good idea. You want to be looking out the front. Let's talk about it next lesson.
Yeah,
Discuss
and I always
passing.
do this.
It's not good. I don't think that sounds like a good plan, because you're well.
Yeah, that's
look-
why I forgot this, because I'm normally very good, I think. I know why I'm looking at the mirrors. I might forget them because I'm nervous thinking of something else, but I do know. Yeah, and you could miss things, and then it can go wrong pretty quickly.
Definitely, Lily.
Yep.
What would be the main goal for next session? Obviously, we're going to work on these points.
I think do similar stuff, and hopefully I'm hoping, because I would get a session in with my partner, that I would have cleared. I need to trust the car and not press the brake, cover the brake.
Okay.
Because I didn't even realize I was doing it. I wanted more power, and I was saying, don't die on me, whilst I'm pressing the brake. And it's a habit. I didn't even knew I was doing that. I didn't know until you said it, and now I have a plan next time, remember.
Awesome. Thank you, Lily.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
I think it's good to point out to them, I am with very pale skin, so I always get that red in the face. I am breathing, I promise you, it's all fine.
All right, so yeah, plenty more to come from myself and Lily. As you can see, we're quite near the beginning of the journey, but it's going to be a solid journey, and we're going to get you there.
And it's a lot of stuff to get through, a lot of unique issues as well, I think, because I feel whilst my instructor was good, the second one was really good, the first one not. There is some funny stories you would learn about in next videos, but I was thinking, if I had changed her sooner, because I thought about it for a long time but I didn't, my anxiety, nervousness would have been less now, and I would have had a lot less to unlearn. It's very important, because it's such a torture in my head now, because they could be good instructors, but they need to be able to read you and your issues, and they might not necessarily know how to, because I know she wanted to help me by driving, facing the fear, doing things, but it didn't work.
I think you needed to take a step back and break it down. So if you would find that interesting, how to know it's time to change instructors, Lily's got a wealth of knowledge. £8,500 of money, 200 hours, 2 instructors, quit work for the anxiety. You went to various therapies and stuff, and we're going to talk more about all of this, and there's more about Lily's driving history and journey. It is a journey. Respect to you. Keep going. Great improvement. Thank you very much.
It might be third time lucky.
I hope so. So yeah, thank you for watching today, guys. Do be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so that you're notified as soon as the video comes out, or else you might not be notified. Like the video, it really helps us. Share the video.
Sorry.
And I'll see you again in the next video. Thank you for watching.
Bye everyone.
Bye.